Hi, Phil Schoenberg, Fastpitch Power. There are two primary and fundamental methodologies for your evolution and development as an athlete in general, as a windmill pitcher specifically, and we are primarily concerned with windmill pitching. Those are work and time. And when I talk about time, I'm talking about the passage of time, not that I'm going to spend a half an hour in this practice session or I'm going to spend 45 minutes. I'm talking about the passage of chronological time. Now, this has become a big problem. And I've been noticing this over the last 4 or 5 years, that my elite clinics have younger and younger athletes in them. So the top level pitchers that I'm dealing with in my most advanced clinic, in one particular instance, has a 12-year-old athlete who already has command of 3 or 4 pitches. But she is working out with in the same clinic as a bunch of 15, 16, and 17-year-old girls. Now, why is this a problem? Work is easy. I mean, it's not easy, but the concept of work is simple. I've got a pitch that's not doing what I want it to do. It's not breaking late enough. It's not moving enough. It's not spinning fast enough. Well, I can go work on those things in real time right now to try to get that better. No problem. But the passage of time is a big issue, and it is a critical issue, because what happens developmentally between a 12-year-old athlete and a 16-year-old athlete is tremendous. There is so much that goes on in the building of strength, coordination, neuromuscular connections, all of these things that enable you to excel as an athlete cannot be accelerated, cannot be rushed. Yet I have a 12-year-old, 5'1" pitcher, command of 4 pitches. Wouldn't look at her mechanics and say that she's really any different than the 16-year-old. But she's standing next to a 16-year-old, and either the athlete or her parents or both are saying, well, gee, they're in the same class, but that kid's throwing the ball 5 miles an hour faster. Well, yeah, and she's also 5'7" when my 12-year-old is 5'1". Now, unfortunately, that 12-year-old cannot go home after that clinic and say, okay, I'm going to spend tonight trying to go from 5'1" to 5'7". It isn't going to work. The passage of chronological time is the only thing that is going to get that pitcher from 5'1" to 5'7", assuming that she has the genetics to be 5'7" or above, and to develop the strength, the power, the hand speed, the leg drive. All the lessons in the world, all the clinics in the world are not going to jump you developmentally from being a 12-year-old to a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old. Yes, you can work harder than that 16-year-old to develop the movement of your pitches. But when we're talking about velocity, which is one of the things that just drives me absolutely crazy, because we all look at ESPN in May, the end of May, and we watch a handful of the very top pitchers in the country throwing the ball 67, 68, 60. Well, why am I not doing that? The reason you're not doing that is because maybe 0.5% of 1% of all the pitchers out there are capable of doing that, no matter how many lessons they take, no matter how many clinics, no matter how many deadlifts they do. There are a lot of factors, which we won't go into now, that go into whether or not you as a pitcher will ever throw the ball at 68, 69, 70 miles an hour. But that does not mean that if you're topping out at the average for an NCAA Division I pitcher, 59, 60, 61 miles an hour, that you cannot be an extraordinarily effective pitcher. You can. And that's how we teach our girls, because very rare, I can count on less than one hand the number of upper 60-mile-an-hour pitchers that I have had the pleasure to work with and train. But I have a lot of very successful NCAA-level pitchers who know how to pitch, not just throw. So when you are a young athlete and you are thrown into the deep water with a bunch of girls who are older than you are, who are taller than you are, who are stronger than you are, who are 3 to 4 years further down the evolutionary path than you are, you need to have perspective. And your parents need to have perspective. Don't call me and say, oh, can we do 4 lessons a week? That's not going to get you from 5'1" to 5'7". The 4 years between being 12 years old and 16 years old may very well do that. It's not going to get you from 52 miles an hour to 62 miles an hour. That same 4 years may very well do that. So make sure that you understand where you are in the evolutionary scale that involves the passage of time, and have the patience to understand A, how critical the passage of time is, and B, the fact that you can't control it and you cannot rush it. I hope that this has been useful. I would love to hear your experiences in this regard and your comments. Talk to you next time.